International Space Day, celebrated each year on the 12th of April, officially called International Day of Human Spaceflight. On the 12th of April, the first successful human spaceflight was performed by cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. He was launched into orbit by a Vostok rocket and orbited the Earth for an astounding 108 minutes in the Vostok 1 capsule. Yuri Gagarin made a single orbit of the Earth on 12 April 1961. At this stage, the USSR was clearly ahead of the space race, having launched Sputnik 1, the first man-made satellite in orbit, just 4 years before Yuri Gagarin's historic spaceflight. 1 month later, the United States of America launched Alan Shepard to space on the Freedom 7 mission on May 5, 1961. Although Shepard could only orbit the Earth for 15 minutes and 28 seconds. But President John F. Kennedy would not be defeated. On May 25, 1961, President Kennedy asked the US Congress to commit to the goal of landing a man on the moon and returning him home safely before the end of the decade. Pressure was high on the NASA team, and on July 20, 1969, the Apollo 11 mission took off on the Saturn V rocket. Sadly, 6 years after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. The crew included Commander Neil Armstrong, Lunar Module pilot Buzz Aldrin, Command Module pilot Michael Collins. They were the 3 individuals who would fly to the moon, though only Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Command Module pilot Michael Collins stayed on the orbiting Command Module so that he could catch the ascent stage of the Lunar Module. On July 20th, Neil Armstrong touched down on the surface of the moon, uttering those famous words. 19 minutes later, Buzz Aldrin would come down to the surface of the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin spent 21 hours and 36 minutes on the moon, until finally blasting off in the ascent stage. And the Apollo 11 mission splashed down on July 24th at 5:50 a.m. Officially closing the mission. Every year after 2011, we celebrate the first steps into the exploration of space. Now we have astronauts continuously living in orbit, and nearing the 3rd decade, we would hopefully live on the moon too.